it's sort of like, I don't cuss in the pulpit because I don't want it to get in the way of somebody listening.
Right.
I don't know that I theologically think that word has a separate meaning that is somehow more defamatory than something else we can say in the pulpit. It's the same reason I dress up on Sunday mornings. I don't need to dress up for God. I'm like, God walks around with me every day. He knows what I look like in my underwear.
But somebody might need that.
But like if you are staring at me and all you can think is like, he's wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Oh my God.
Then I'm big enough that I don't care what I'm wearing.
We don't have that conversation. We don't have that discussion of like this idea that as a minister or just as a person in ministry, period, that it's our responsibility to mitigate some of the distractions.
Well, I mean, I think that's what Paul talks about when he's saying, don't be a stumbling block to your siblings in Christ. Don't intentionally make the family of God stumble. Me being defiant and I'm going to wear what I want to wear. That's not really about God. That's not really about my theology that really does express that God will welcome you in whatever form, whatever you're wearing, wherever you've been, wherever you're going. God is already there with you and welcomes you exactly the way you are. You are already a beloved child of God. But I don't know that me defiantly not wearing a shirt and tie on Sunday morning is really the best way to express that theology.
No.
And you don't usually argue people into change. But at the same time, this is the thing we did at Broadway, like together, we used to do that good egg breakfast and we'd kidnap kids out of their beds when they were going to be freshmen in coordinated kidnapping with parent permission and all the rest. And we'd come snatch them. They wouldn't know what Sunday we were coming, but we'd take them out to breakfast before church and we'd feed them and we'd celebrate them in front of the congregation. And we didn't let them get dressed. Yeah, they came wearing their pajamas. T-shirt. And so we as leaders wore our pajamas to church that week because it's like, I'm not going to ask you to be vulnerable in a way I'm not willing to be vulnerable. And there were, I occasionally heard about it. There were some folks who didn't like that I was wearing a Superman onesie as I celebrated communion one Sunday. But for that person, there was also 3 or 4 that was like, that was so powerful that you just brought what was happening in the lives of this congregation with you to the communion table. It's the same thing that I was so grateful. My kids were really little at Broadway, and I still remember, I don't know, even know which kid it was. I remember doing communion with a kid on my hip, and the congregation celebrated that because it's just you being like, I don't have to stop being dad to be pastor. Pastor and dad are both part of my identity, and they're both worthy to be at the communion table together. And that matches my theology, but it also is really affirming for me as a pastor. And it's those kind of moments that teach that you're already a beloved child of God way more than what I wear on Sunday morning. I mean, this is the whole thing. Classically in the church, that's what robes started as. Robes were a way for pastors to be a blank slate, so that nobody was focused on it. And unfortunately, in our day and age, a lot of female pastors still need to wear a robe because if they don't, they get comments about what they wear.
Which is outrageous. That's idea. I mean, there's nowhere that Jesus presents as walking around in the holy garb. No.
But that's the part of going there is a burden and a responsibility as pastor to do our best to not get in the way of people's spiritual growth. Gotta be sad.